So, welcome to our 45-minute self love, flow, and meditation. So, obviously, we know it is the last day of 2020. It's a new year tomorrow, which is really exciting. We don't necessarily need any props or anything for class. If you normally like to have like blankets, blocks, bolsters, anything that you have at home, you're welcome to grab it. You might feel like you want to reach for it, but otherwise, you should be fine. Our practice today is really focused around letting go of this past year and moving into the new year. No matter what kind of year you had, I know it was tough for most of us. I could probably say all of us have a bit of a tough year. So we're going to set that aside and move into the new. We're going to get on our mats in child's pose. So you can take your time to make your way there into a comfortable child's pose. If child's pose for whatever reason doesn't feel good for you, you can just go ahead and lie on your back. We're going to be there for a few minutes. So just make sure that you're nice and comfy. So bringing the big toes together to touch the knees nice and wide. We'll sink our bums back towards our heels and start to walk the hands forward, melting your heart towards the earth. Just taking some time at the start of our practice to focus in on your breath. The way your body's feeling. The way your heart's feeling today. And just taking a moment to start to reflect back on this past year. Positive points, the high points, even the low points. Thinking back on what this year has given you, maybe what this year has taken away. And as you start to think back and reflect on this past year, really think about what you want to let go of from 2020. What do you want to leave in the past? What do you want to not take with you into this next year? Maybe it's fear, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's loneliness, whatever you don't want with you to start afresh, to start anew. What do you want to leave behind? Really trying to narrow it down to something really specific that you don't want anymore, you don't want in your life. And as we move through our practice today, really thinking about letting it go. On your next inhale, really filling up your lungs, filling up the space of your body, thinking about those things that you were trying to leave in the past. And as you exhale, really let it go. Inhaling, filling the body. And exhale, releasing. We'll take one more really cleansing breath together. Big inhale and exhale. We'll start to lift our gaze towards the palms of your hand. Floating the hips, we'll begin to make our way into tabletop. So hands will come underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Beautiful. Once you make your way to tabletop, we'll just begin with some cat-cow. So as we inhale, we'll dip our bellies gaze forward. And then as we exhale, we'll press the floor away, round back through the spine. Good. Inhaling to lengthen. And exhaling to round. Moving with your breath, waking up the spine. We'll take one more cat-cow in each direction. And eventually we'll meet in that final nice long spine, neutral spine. Beautiful. Start to reach that right leg out and back behind you, finding length through the leg. Your heel will come in line with your hip. Squaring your hips and shoulders towards the mat, really engage that core. We're going to reach the opposite left arm forward, opposite arm to leg. Good. Inhale. As you exhale, round through the spine, bring your elbow and knee towards each other, engage your core. Inhale, lengthen the arm and leg away from each other. Good. Exhale, round through the spine, elbow and knee touch. Inhale, lengthen. Just twice more like that, waking up the core. Exhale, round. Inhale, reach. Last one, big exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Find a moment of balance here, really engaging the core, feeling length through the spine. And we'll slowly lower that left hand and right knee down. Beautiful. Finding those hands back underneath your shoulders, knees back underneath your hips if you're not still there already. And we'll begin to reach that left leg back and long behind us, squaring the hips and shoulders towards the mat, and then reaching that opposite right arm forward. Feel length in the spine, feel your core engage. Taking one big inhale, lengthening the arm and leg away from each other. Exhale, we'll round the spine, hug your elbow towards your knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. Beautiful, just twice more like that. Inhaling. Exhaling. Good, inhale, lengthen. Last time we'll exhale, round the spine. Really engage that core one more time. Inhale, reach the arm and leg away from each other. Take a moment to find balance. Feel length through the back of your spine. And then we'll plant the right hand and the left knee down. Beautiful job. Tuck both toes under on the mat. We'll begin to reach our hips back and wide for downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, if you'd like to take a moment to pedal through the feet, you can. Wiggle in the hips. Just waking up the backs of the legs. When we're ready, we'll just start to find a little bit of stillness, finding pause. We're going to take some waves through the spine. So as we take our next exhale, we're going to begin to puff up the ribcage, round through your back. And as we do that, we're going to float the shoulders over top of our wrists into our plank. Once you make your way into your plank, you're going to bend into both knees. Dip your belly low like you're scooping your hips up and back to your downward facing dog. So as we exhale, we round our spine forward like we're doing our angry cat into our plank. Then we soften our knees, scoop the belly low as we scoop the hips up and back, kind of like we're doing our cow. Good. Exhale, floating forward, rounding the spine. Inhale, softening the knees, scooping the hips back. Once more like that. Exhale, rounding forward. Inhale, scooping back. We'll pause in our downward facing dog here, just taking 3 breaths to settle in. At the end of that third exhale, we'll start to soften our knees, look towards your hands, and slowly walk your feet forward towards your hands, making your way into a forward fold. Start with a nice, generous, soft bend into both knees. Let your chest fall over your thighs, and just take a moment to hang. Hands can either reach for the floor, or you can grab opposite elbows, coming into ragdoll. Just feeling your head, your neck, shoulders, really relaxing and releasing over both legs. Almost like we're creating more space between each of our vertebrae, hanging nice and heavy over our legs. Beautiful. We'll start to gently release our hands if they were interlaced. Planting your hands on your shins, we'll inhale, lengthen the spine, halfway lift, lengthen. And exhale, melt back forward. Bend even deeper into both of your knees. We'll slowly peel up through our spine, one vertebrae at a time. Sweeping the arms up and overhead, big inhale. And then we'll fold back on forward, exhale. Reach your hands towards your mat. We're going to soften into both knees. Step your right leg back in long behind you, coming into our high lunge. So really ground down through the feet, strengthen through the legs. Then we'll engage our core, reaching both arms up and overhead, high lunge. Beautiful job. Feeling those hips nice and square. So it's almost like that left hip is pulling back, right hip is pulling forward. Our back leg is nice and strong. Good. Maybe you're able to sink a little bit deeper. Relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Take one more big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to slowly plant the hands down to either side of our front foot. Step your back foot in about halfway. And then we're going to stretch both legs as much as we can, coming into pyramid. So both knees are straight. Hands might need to come to your legs so you're able to straighten that front leg. That's totally fine. Or if you can, hands can also reach for the floor, whatever feels better for you. Feeling that nice big hamstring stretch on that left side. Still thinking about the left hip pulling back, the right hip pulling forward. We'll start to soften even more into that front left knee. Walk your hands forward slightly. Then we're going to float the back right leg into the air into our standing split. Trying to keep both hips as square to the floor as we can, feeling that toe reach to the sky. Good. As we inhale, that leg lengthens even more. Exhaling, settling into the pose. Take one more big inhale here. Then as we exhale, we're going to slowly lower the right foot beside the left, forward fold. Planting your hands either on your shins or on the mat. We'll inhale, lengthen our spine, halfway lift. Exhale, melt forward, soften into the knees, peel all the way up through your spine, piece by piece by piece. Sweep those arms up overhead, big inhale. Exhale, we'll fold all the way forward. Beautiful, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, melt on forward. We'll soften into our knees, planting your hands on the mat. This time we'll step the left foot back and long behind you into our high lunge. So really engage the legs, engage your core. And then we'll sweep the arms up and overhead. Beautiful. Relaxing the shoulders away from your ears, feeling length through the spine. Beautiful. One more big inhale here. And as we exhale, we'll slowly lower our hands down to either side of the front foot. Step that back foot in about halfway. And then we'll lengthen both legs into our pyramid. So again, this time we want to feel like our right hip is pulling back, our left hip is pulling forward. Hands can be either on your leg or on the floor, but wherever you find them, you want your knees to be as straight as possible so you're getting that deep stretch into your hamstring. Beautiful. We'll start to soften into that front knee. Walk your hands forward slightly as we begin to float the back leg up into our standing split. So again, thinking about keeping the hips as square to the floor as you can. Floating that back left leg high. Your left kneecap in the air is pointing down towards the mat as best as you can. Taking a moment to find balance, find length. Beautiful. On your next exhale, we'll slowly float that left foot back down beside the right, planting the feet side by side. Inhale, lengthen your spine halfway. Exhale, melt forward, soften your knees. We'll peel all the way back up through the spine, piece by piece by piece. Sweeping the arms up and overhead, big inhale. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine halfway. Exhale, melt. Soften into your knees. We'll plant our hands onto the mat and then step back to your downward facing dog right away. Beautiful. In our downward facing dog, we're going to reach the right leg up and back behind us. Three-legged dog. Beautiful. Really feel that right leg reaching long away from you, almost like someone's pulling it off your mat behind you. Begin to bend into your right knee, and we'll start to draw nice big circles with that right knee in one direction. Opening up through the hip. Taking some time to circle the knee the opposite way as well. Beautiful. We'll find some stillness with that right leg. Lengthen it out and lung behind you. Big inhale, three-legged dog. As we exhale, try to keep that right foot up. You can put it down if you'd like to, but we're going to start to float forward into a three-legged plank. So that right leg is staying floating. Good. Engage your core. We're going to reach that right leg up and back, three-legged dog. One more big inhale here. As we exhale, we're going to float that right leg forward to our pigeon. So bending into the knee. We'll bring the right knee behind the right wrist, right ankle behind your left wrist, and we'll melt into our pigeon pose. So once again, thinking about being square through the hips, square through the shoulders. If you'd like to rest your hands up on something like a block, a pillow, anything, you're welcome to. And if it feels good for you, we can melt on forward over that front leg. Releasing that right hip. Relaxing the neck and shoulders. As we rest and melt into this pigeon pose, really start to think again about those things that you're letting go of, things that you're leaving behind in this year that you're not taking with you into the new. Almost like we're shedding layers as we melt deeper into this posture. We'll slowly start to walk our hands back underneath our shoulders, lifting up nice and tall. We'll tuck our back toe under and step our right foot back to meet our left, downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, if you want to wiggle through the hips, you can. Just moving that blood around. Once we're ready, we'll begin to find a little bit of stillness here. This time reaching that left leg up and back behind you, three-legged dog. Really feeling that length through the left leg, length through the spine. We'll begin to bend into that left knee, drawing those nice big circles with our knee in one direction. Opening up through the hip. When you feel ready, you can take some circles in the opposite direction as well. Beautiful. Starting to find a little bit of stillness here. We'll reach that left leg up and back behind you one more time, three-legged dog. And then try and keep that left leg floated, but you can always plant it down if you need to. We're going to begin to float forward into a three-legged plank. If you'd like that left foot can be on the floor, that's totally fine, nice and strong through your core. Big inhale. As we exhale, we'll reach that left leg back and along behind us, three-legged dog. One more inhale to lengthen here. And then as we exhale, we'll float that left knee forward behind the left wrist, making our way into pigeon on the second side. Feeling nice and square through the hips here, long in the spine, settling into this pose. Again, if you want to have your hands on anything to lift you up a little bit higher, you're more than welcome to. We'll inhale to lengthen and exhale to melt on forward. Again, melting into this pose, thinking about those things that you're leaving behind in this year, things you're shedding, letting go of. Whether it's fear, whether it's anxiety, stress, anything that you don't want to take into the new year. When you're ready, we'll slowly start to walk those hands back underneath our shoulders. Tucking those right toes back under on the mat, we'll step our left foot back to meet the right downward facing dog. Taking a moment, if it feels good, to pedal through the feet, wiggle in the hips. Just bringing some life back into your hips here. On your next exhale, we'll take a moment just to settle into this downward facing dog, settle into this posture. And then on our next inhale, we'll look towards our hands, soften our knees, and then exhale, begin to slowly walk your feet forward towards your hands. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine, halfway lift. Exhale, melt it on forward, softening into your knees. We'll peel up through the spine, piece by piece by piece, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Big inhale. Exhale, we'll fold on forward right away. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, melt. Plant your hands onto the mat, bend deeply into both knees. We're going to step our left foot back and long behind us into our low lunge. Then bring both of your hands to the inside of the right foot, turning your hips and turning your toes towards that long left edge of your mat. We'll sink our hips low into a little side squat. So up to you, the heel can either stay on the floor. If it feels better to pop the heel up, you totally can. And if it feels better for you to also be up high, you're welcome to be up high as well. Just whatever feels best for your body. Getting a little bit of an inner thigh stretch in that left leg. Good. Starting to float the hips up, we'll walk our hands through center over towards the back left foot. Bend into your left knee, keeping the right leg long. Beautiful. Starting to float the hips up one final time. We'll turn all 10 of our toes towards that long left edge of your mat. Feet are still nice and wide. Take a moment to melt over both legs, wide angle. Let your spine be heavy, your head, neck, and shoulders be heavy. If you'd like to grab opposite elbows, you're welcome to. Maybe you want to reach for your ankles. Whatever feels good here for you. If your hands aren't already underneath your shoulders, we'll walk our hands back underneath the shoulders and then start to walk them back towards the front edge of your mat, towards that right foot. We're going to turn our right toes forward to reach the front edge of our mat. Step your back foot in about halfway, coming onto the toes of that back left foot. We're going to lower slowly and gently onto our knee. So we're kneeling on our left knee. Our right leg is straight long in front of us. And then we're going to sit all the way back onto our left heel. So your right leg is straight in front of you. That's it. Awesome. Take a moment to inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale to fold forward. If it doesn't feel good for you to sit all the way on your heel, if that's not comfortable for your knee, you can also lift your bum off of your knee so that you're kind of more kneeling tall. And same thing, you'll still fold forward. That right foot can be flexed, it can be pointed, whatever feels good for you here. Flexing will usually give you a deeper stretch into your calf, whereas pointing your foot, a deeper stretch into your hamstring. On our next inhale, we'll lift our gaze, floating our bum off of our heel. We're gonna bend into our front knee, then sweep that right leg back to meet the left, and we're just gonna step the left foot forward. So now you should have your left foot in front, and we're kneeling on our right knee. Same thing, we're gonna sink our bum back, so that we're sitting onto our heel, and our left leg lengthens in front of us. Good, take a moment to inhale, lengthen, and then we'll exhale to fold. Again, if bending your knee this much doesn't feel good, you're also welcome to lift your bum off of your heel so you're lifted a little bit higher. Beautiful. On our next inhale, we'll lift our gaze towards the front edge of our mat, lifting our bum off of our heel, we'll bend into the front knee, and then just sweep that front knee back beside the right. Beautiful. So right now we're in tabletop hands and knees. We're just gonna lower onto our stomach. So we'll bend our elbows, lowering your chest and chin, and then we'll slither forward onto our fronts. So we come lying all the way down on our stomach. Beautiful. Lying on your stomach, we're gonna bring our fingertips to the floor, just beside your shoulders, slightly off your mat so they're wider. Elbows point towards the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen your spine, lifting your chest off the floor. Exhale, we'll melt our heart back forward. Taking that a few times, inhaling, lengthening the spine, opening your heart. Exhale, melting. This is one of my favorite movements to do to really wake up the spine. Inhale, opening the heart, exhaling to melt. Depending on how your spine is feeling here, if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can always walk your hands closer to your shoulders, more underneath your shoulders. To give yourself a little bit more lift, just whatever feels good for your spine. We'll take that one more time, inhaling to lengthen, open your heart. And exhale, melt forward. Beautiful. We'll plant our hands underneath of our shoulders, press the floor away. We're gonna lift through tabletop, keeping your hips stacked over top of your knees. We'll slowly walk our hands forward, opening our heart towards the mat, puppy pose. Just feeling that stretch through the front of your chest, keeping the hips reaching to the sky. One more big inhale here. And as we exhale, we're gonna float our heads, look towards your hands, and then slowly start to walk your hands towards your knees. We're gonna swing our legs forward in front of us, sitting onto one hip, just to find our way onto our bums. Beautiful. Once we come sitting up nice and tall, I'm just gonna turn to face you guys a little bit. We're gonna keep our right heel in towards our bum and reach our left leg out wide towards the side. Beautiful. Plant your left hand down to the inside of your left leg. We're gonna sweep our right arm up and overhead towards your straight leg. Feel that nice side body stretch, that nice opening through your ribs. Slowing down your breath. One more big inhale. And as we exhale, we'll float through center, just switching sides. So we'll bend the left knee in, reach that right leg wide. Same thing, right hand will come down to the floor on the inside of your right leg, and left arm will sweep up and overhead, big side body stretch. You might feel a stretch in your inner thigh here. You'll definitely feel a stretch in the side of your body. Thinking about your heart being open to the ceiling. Good. One more big breath in.
And then as we exhale, we'll float back through center. Beautiful. Reach both of your legs towards the top edge of your mat. We're going to come lying down on our spine, so just take your time. But legs will reach long and we'll slowly lower onto our backs. Once you find your way lying on your back, we'll hug both of our knees towards our chest. Placing one hand on each shin, just giving your knees a little hug. If it feels good to rock side to side, you're welcome to do so. Start to find a little bit of stillness. Arms will come out wide, so your wrists will come in line with your shoulders. So they're in a bit of a T shape. And then we'll lift both legs up to tabletop. Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, both knees are going to fall over towards the right side of your body, coming into a twist. Beautiful. Either you can look up at the ceiling, or you can start to peek over your left shoulder, getting more rotation through the spine. Just a gentle twist here. Beautiful. We'll start to lift our gaze back towards the ceiling if it's not there already. Taking an inhale. As you exhale, engage your core and float both legs back through to center. And then we'll slowly let them fall over towards the left this time. So same thing, knees will fall to the left, and either you can look up at the ceiling or over your right shoulder. Feeling that nice twist through the spine. On our next inhale, we'll start to guide our gaze back towards the ceiling. Exhale to engage the core, float the legs through to center. And we'll just take a moment to hug both knees towards your chest, releasing your spine back to the mat. If there's any additional postures your body maybe feels it needs before we move into Shavasana, you're welcome to take those. And eventually when you're feeling ready, we'll find our way into our final resting place. So whether you want to have legs long or knees bent, just whatever feels good for you. We'll begin to settle our way into our mat. If you want to add any layers, maybe your room's chilly, feel free to do that as well. Taking a moment as we start to find our way into our comfortable Shavasana here, to focus back in on the breath. Allowing your body to release into the mat. We've spent a lot of our practice today talking about and thinking about things we might be letting go of and leaving behind as we move forward into this new year. And now that we've really shed that layer and let that go, start to think about the things that you want to bring into the new year. What do you want to focus on? What do you want this next year to look like? What are new things that you can bring with you to make next year a great one? Maybe you want to focus on self-love. Maybe you want to focus on freedom or your relationships. Whatever it is, just really honing in on that, thinking about that. What do you want 2021 to look like?
Getting really clear on what this is that you're trying to bring into the new year, trying to focus on. Really thinking about how you want to feel these next 365 days. Thinking about what this intention might be that you want to bring into the new year. And as you have that intention, you're bringing that intention into your life, into this new year. I'm just going to bring you through a little bit of a meditation based around that. Start to focus in on your breath, noticing how your breath is moving through your nose, in and out. Noticing how your breath is allowing your body to rise and fall. As you continue to breathe, notice that you can direct your attention anywhere you'd like it to go. I invite you to draw your attention to the center of your head, imagining you're going deep into the center of your consciousness, about eye level. Anytime your mind wanders, bring your awareness back to this spot. Still breathing, I invite you to recall the last year. Is there anything you wish to release? If so, imagine that energy, memory, or even regret coming together in a ball of light floating in front of you. Allow this process to occur at a pace that's comfortable. What color is that energy? Do you feel the old you're releasing out of different parts of your body? What does it look like? Still breathing, I invite you to release that ball of energy. Perhaps it floats off into the sun to be burned up in its rays. Maybe you imagine an angel coming down and carrying it safely away. Or maybe it just disappears. As you watch this energy leave, how do you feel? Take a few moments to enjoy the expansiveness of this release. Now let's fill in those spots that house the old energy. Consider an intention that you would like to set, either a new one or the one you'd like to renew. Maybe you imagine writing the intention down in your journal. Perhaps you imagine what it would be like to hear it out loud, spoken by your favorite person. If this intention also looked like a ball of energy or light, what color would it be? Would it be warm? Would it be cool? I invite you to really imagine a beautiful funnel over your head. This golden funnel simply floats above your head and invites only the best, the most beautiful energy into your body. Imagine that funnel draws the energy of your intention into your body, filling up all the empty spaces where the old energy from your last year resided. If you feel a physical sensation like a tingling or a twitching, it's okay. Your body is simply responding to the shift in energy. When it feels as if this energy has filled your body, take a moment to close off your funnel, knowing you can reopen it at any time to invite only the best energy into yourself. Taking a few more nourishing breaths here, sit in the space with renewed intentional energy. We'll take 5 more deep inhales and exhales together here. Begin to bring your awareness back to your body, noticing how it feels, filled with all positive, all the beautiful things you want to bring into this new year. You're welcome to invite small movements back into the body, maybe by wiggling the hands, wiggling the feet, maybe by turning the corners of your mouth up into a little smile. Taking as much time as your body feels it needs, we'll slowly begin to roll over onto one side, making your way into a small ball. From this small ball, we'll slowly use our arms and legs to lift us, making our way into a comfortable seat. Again, just taking your time. Whether you want to sit cross-legged or maybe you want to sit with legs long or up on a chair, on a cushion, whatever feels right for you. Eventually, when we're all ready, we'll take one more big inhale together, sweeping the arms up and overhead. We'll connect the palms together at the top. And then exhale, floating your hands to your heart center. Whether you'd like to keep the eyes open or gently blink them closed, just take a moment to thank yourself for taking the time out of your day to really focus in on you, what you need, what your heart, your soul needs. Taking this time to nourish your body, your mind. And thank you all for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. It means the world to me to share this with you. I hope you guys have a fabulous last day of 2020. And I hope you guys have a beautiful start and full end of the new year. Thank you guys all for joining me so much. Namaste.